I'm talking to Jannine Barron, who's the manager and owner of Nature's Child, who supplies a wide range of organic baby products, both through mail order and through her retail store. So, Jannine, tell me about your business and your journey as a sustainable retailer.
I think when I started, I didn't know I was a sustainable retailer. I just had a passion and I knew I wanted to start a business providing products that weren't currently available. The term sustainability probably came into it 2 or 3 years after what we were doing. So then it was a matter of us turning around and saying, oh, we're a sustainable retailer, okay. But actually it very much came from the heart and to create practices and products that were organic and biodegradable. But it just didn't have this industry term of sustainability at the time.
But what procedures and practices have you followed in turning the business into a more sustainable model?
It was incredibly natural to look at everything we did. I think it's a mentality, sustainability. I actually admire people who have to go out and learn what it is and try to implement practices. For me, it was such a part of who I was that I didn't even know I was necessarily being sustainable. It was natural to recycle. It was natural to work in a community-based way. It was natural to involve my customers from the very beginning in them determining what we needed. Some of the areas where we have to be careful of is recycling. So every workstation here has 2 bins. We have rules with the staff where there is no junk food on the premises. There is no perfumes, there's no chemical products used on our bodies. So when we come into the workplace, we're actually setting an example for our customers.
Some years into the business, you moved into this purpose-built building. What were the main energy efficiency areas you were able to address?
Okay. So when we moved into this building, the landlord had control over about 80% of the building. We had no say in that, and we had control over 20%. With the 20% we have, we use sustainable building practices for everything from floor coverings to paint, to even the painters we employed were green painters, so they were certified eco-friendly painters who knew how to use the products. We have recently had a win where the landlord has agreed to implement solar power on the entire complex. That's taken 2 years, but we're really thrilled that they've taken that on board. That was actually quite easy in the end because all we had to do was to point out the financial benefits for them. The wonderful thing about a lot of sustainable practices is there's so many incentives now from government and commercially, is that if you're not coming from a heart space of being eco-friendly, there's certainly a commercial interest in a lot of sustainable practices now.
How do you motivate your staff to be more conscious about energy efficiency and environmental practices? How important is your team in making this all happen?
It really depends on the individual. In the beginning I talked about how when I started this business it was so natural, it came from within me that I practiced sustainability. I find about 50% of our workforce have that same heart space. The other 50% do need to be trained, and we have faced a number of challenges with that, and every single staff member has stepped up to those challenges.
What have been the biggest challenges? Are they people challenges, costs or logistics?
All of those 3 things have been challenges. There are extra costs occasionally associated with being sustainable, but they're usually offset by the savings. So as I talked about before with the solar panels going on the roof, there's going to be huge savings there for all of us with our electricity bill. So if you look at it that way, it offsets the extra you might pay for post-consumer recycled paper. So it's really important to communicate what you're doing with your customers about, so they know you're being environmentally friendly. So we use boxes like this sometimes, and some people may get this box and initially go, oh, it's an old box. But as soon as they see our message of that we proudly use recycled packaging, it completely changes their perception of why they're getting what they're getting. So I think it's about your headspace. You cannot see costs as an individual unit. I believe our business costs end up being fairly even to someone who is doing totally non-environmental practices. You can get bulk deals on fully recyclable paper that make it incredibly cost effective, which is a smart business practice anyway, to be buying in bulk where you can. So that's to do with costs. Logistics, I don't see any issues at all with our logistics. Logistics are, there's nothing particularly environmentally friendly about logistics in terms of shipping. So really the the most sustainable thing we can contribute to in terms of logistics is just to creating really good relationships with all our suppliers and shipping companies.
Every action we take produces a ripple effect, whether it's in the community, in the customers, in the environment. What have you noticed from running this kind of business?
Well, I guess the most satisfying ripple effect is with people. Sometimes we have, one of my favourite customers is when you have a couple come in, often from Sydney or Melbourne, and they come in because things look nice, but by the time they've left, an hour later, they're thinking about everything they're going to be choosing, they're starting to think about the impact on their life. If people are open enough, it's amazing how a conversation with us can really tap into that and very quickly turn their attitudes. That's really fulfilling and really exciting, because you know that they're going to go out there and they're going to demonstrate to other people what's possible, and they're going to become educators. So I guess that's our biggest goal, is to create educators from our customers who go out and then educate again. So people is a huge ripple effect. Environmentally, a huge ripple effect that no one really sees here, because they come in, they see cute clothes, they see nice nappies, they hear that it's organic cotton. But what I know is that that means there's farmers out there getting enough work that are working pesticide free. There's factories that have no pesticides in the actual factory, because we have a very strict certification process where our products are also made in a certified organic factory, which means they're not contaminated by non-organic goods. That the people who are employed are paid a fair wage. And so by the time it gets here looking pretty in a box, there's a massive ripple effect that a lot of people have not even thought of. But that's a huge underlying aspect of what we do in the products we create.
Thank you very much, Jannine, for talking with us today.
It's been my pleasure. Thanks for visiting Nature's Child today.